Ladies and gentlemen, Totem Pole Nation, we are live here. Got my man Johnny Bottles representing Central Florida. I got Coach T. It is game day, scrimmage day, Verona. Get to LC Bird tonight. Be there at 5:30. They kick off at 6. What's going on, fellas? What's on your hearts today?
What you
I got
thinking,
nothing going on
Johnny?
right now. I just
Yeah,
got the
we
dogs out. I fed the dogs. That's it, man.
Richard
Ran my ass to a cold shower, and I'm here.
Ooh, I'm telling you. I love it.
Richard Pryor. Man, I used to listen to some of my dad's Richard Pryor 8 tracks. That guy was something. So what's the life lesson for today, Coach Bald?
Two things people throughout history have had in common are hatred and humor. And I am proud that I have been able to use humor to lessen people's hatred.
You're changing the world with humor. Johnny Bottles.
Yes, sir.
Were you a big Richard Pryor fan? Because I believe this comes from Richard Pryor. Motorhead posted this on Twitter.
I was a big Richard Pryor fan when there was a TV show back when they had variety shows on television. You guys remember that? They had the Flip Wilson show. You remember Flip Wilson? He was a
Yes.
contemporary of Richard Pryor. First guy to do drag, I guess, for comedy purposes. On TV, he had a character called Geraldine, who was a hairdresser. And he used to put the wig on the dress and get all done up. He was a funny guy, Richard Pryor was. But he would give Flip Wilson was. Richard Pryor was also a funny guy, but he would give Richard Pryor breaks by having him come on his show during the late 60s, early 70s and appear and do skits and all that stuff. Richard Pryor was a host on Saturday Night Live before you saw black people in that role back in the early 70s, mid 70s. Yeah, Saturday Night Live was mid 70s. It came on in 75, I believe. Yeah. 75 through the late 70s was the Chevy Chase run with Dan Aykroyd and Belushi and all those guys. Pryor was on, Carlin was on, a lot of what they call counterculture comedians. The humor that they said pissed off a lot of people in power, a lot of the older people in the audience, but they united everybody through humor. And I remember Pryor he was always on television on the variety shows at that time. And he was on the Tonight Show quite a bit with Carson. Johnny Carson loved Richard Pryor. You never knew what was going to come out of his mouth. That's why Carson loved him so much. And he was a funny guy and a nice guy. And he got signed up for a TV series by NBC. And the TV series didn't go anywhere because he was constantly fighting with the censors as to what he could say. So they mutually agreed to part ways. They let him out of his contract, and he went back to being a stand-up, and he developed a nice, lucrative career, starring in movies with Gene Wilder, and then he went off on his own. I mean, Stir Crazy, everybody's seen Stir Crazy. Well, I can't say that because I've raised kids that never saw Animal House. They never saw Caddyshack. I had to break them into that, and I broke them into Stir Crazy, and they loved it. There's so much comedy from these past masters like Richard Pryor that really opened up racial boundaries for people. Richard Pryor was a pioneer of that. You would get a sense of the black experience through his humor, through his comedy, because he brought that to his stand-up act.
Yeah, to mainstream America, to, I guess, middle America.
He was one of the first guys to have a comedy concert movie. The things you see on Netflix all the time, they used to do big budget versions of that with more camera angles and more camera cuts and clips and that, and more shots of the audience, like a little mini documentary almost. It was Richard Pryor live, 1977 on the Sunset Strip in Los Angeles. Was a huge, huge movie back then. All the kids wanted to go see that.
Update us on, because you said he was always fighting with the censors.
Yes.
Update us on Dave Portnoy supposedly buying back Barstool.
Well, the company that bought him out and installed him as a figurehead El Presidente, or Stool Presidente, as they refer to him, they backed out. They found another media company that they wanted to go with,
Yeah.
which is more in line with their points of view.
The
And,
4-letter network.
Yeah. So they backed out, and they left. Part of the agreement was if they decided to rescind the agreement, he would have to buy the company back from them. And that's what happened. And now he's pretty pissed off about it.
Wow. He acted like he was the one that was buying back his freedom of speech, because so you're saying he's trying to create the narrative.
He's trying to create the narrative that the company's successful. If someone parts business, if someone bought a business from you and the business failed and they backed out of the deal and went with another company, they decided to buy another company they deem more profitable or more in line with their line of thinking, that would say, hey, well, Troy sold his business to Coach Bald, and Coach Bald backed out because the business wasn't making any money, and had with the exorbitant payroll and costs for internet and all the media rights they had for clips and all that stuff that they have to pay for. It was a money-losing proposition, so he had an out clause in his contract, and Coach Bald decided to part ways with Coach Troy. Now, Coach Troy's stuck with a business that everybody said, hey, did you hear about Barstool Sports? They're not making any money. That's why the parent company backed out and dumped it back in Portnoy's lap. That's a stigma. That's a stigma that's attached to it. He doesn't want that stigma. He wants people to go to Barstool Sports. He doesn't want to get stuck with a company that's just treading water or spinning its wheels. He wants to seem like it's, hey, we're moving forward. We're gonna crush it this year. Come on.
So what you're saying is that basically what we knew is now occurring, that Totem Pole Nation is coming to fill a void that has been left by Barstool Sports and their incompetence and Jabba the Hutt, Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank is a gelatinous, vile, two-legged piece of walking excrement that shouldn't be walking this planet in the state that he's in right now. Somebody should just hijack him and chloroform his ass and throw him in the trunk of a car. No, probably throw him in the bed of a dump truck and take him to a fat farm so he can lose weight to save his life. Frank Fleming's feet look like mahogany coat hooks. He can't wear sandals or flip-flops because his toenails, his his corn chip-colored toenails, click on the ground when he walks because he can't reach them to snip them with garden shears anymore. He's gotten so fat. That's what I think about Frank Fleming. He's repulsive, repugnant, puts these TikToks and videos on Twitter of him bitching about the Mets with spit flying out of his mouth all over his cell phone camera while he's stuck in an easy chair that he can't get out of. He needs help.
So, Coach Bald, how does that make you feel? That Totem Pole Nation is on
I went
the
too far. Coach, I went too far.
Well, man, I tell you what, I've just seen a few clips. I saw the clips where, he was in Richmond, Virginia, throwing out the pitch and everything. And yeah, man, that guy, call St. Pete Rejuvenate, man. There's a lot of stuff we could get you in there for, a lot of things we could help you out with. Yeah, man. I mean, he could definitely use a life coach. It's never good to have purple legs, I don't think. I don't think that's ever a good look. It's not going to end well like that, man. No. You have got to somebody's got to shake this guy, get some sense into this guy. But yeah, man, I don't know what's going on over there. I just know what's going on with us, and just trying to get a little bit better every single day, just trying to improve what we're doing. The everything can be chaotic around you, but you have to look in that mirror and focus on yourself in certain situations. You got to remain calm, during the rest of the world's storm that might be going on. Because it's like weather. It's you're gonna get some good weather. You're gonna get some bad weather, and you just got to be ready, got to be prepared. The funny thing too that you mentioned Dave. I had watched, and you might have missed out, but we were talking about the Johnny Manziel untold story. And yeah, when Johnny was pretty much completely unraveling, he had got cut by the Browns and basically was in a down spiral to rock bottom. They had showed him he was in Vegas and he was just drinking and drugging himself to death. Luckily he's still around. But yeah, there was a picture of him and Dave, hanging out, in the prime of his, in the prime, I would say, of rock bottom for Johnny Manziel. So yeah, just kind of a sad thing to see those two guys linking up and what kind of down moment that Johnny was having. You know what I mean? It's just sad. You wonder if somebody's going to be there, to help you get out of situations like that. Maybe a little bit better of a life coach would have said, "Look, man, you got to shake this thing. I'm here. I'm here on your side, to get you through this." You should never look down upon a person unless you're bringing them back up and you're picking them back up. And that's kind of what we are here. We are the low man on the pole, so we're looking up at everybody. You know what I mean?
I heard Dave
But
Portnoy has a box in front of his bathroom sink so he can stand on it to brush his teeth. Is that true?
I mean, they say that he goes on his tippy toes every
I've seen that.
time that he takes a picture. He claims he's 6 foot or 6'1". He's not. I mean, no
He's nowhere
man
near 6'1".
stands on his tippy toes to take a picture. I don't care how much money you have. Go get the operation to make yourself 3 inches taller and you can never run again. That's just, why don't he get lifts in his shoes? Man,
They don't make them that big.
buy the company back for free speech because, I mean, is the Barstool sports book still going to be around?
Yes, they're still going to maintain that, they said.
Well, Totem Pole Nation, you're liable to have a sports book before long, Coach Bald. Coach Bald, how's the weather there at St. Petersburg? Look at that, Johnny Bottles. Look
gorgeous,
at that
man.
sky.
I
Look
see
at
it.
gorgeous. I got the dog is just living the dream over there. Get the dolphins. Go get them. Get the dolphins. Yeah, she knows there are no dolphins out there. But yeah, man, it's it's getting to be high school football season. It's getting to be high school football season. Yep. Next week, Lakewood's first game, they got Palmetto crossing the bridge. So that ought to be a doozy there at Lakewood Stadium here off of 54th. So yeah, that'll be Friday night, their first game. And so definitely, I know everybody's excited about that. The bar is always set high, man. It's states or bust. It's states or bust. I think that's got to be the mindset. When you have back to back long, deep runs into the postseason, you just want to stay on that warpath. And they do. They have a brutal schedule. They have 5 games with teams in that Miami area where they travel there, and then the other team has to travel here. So half of their games are linked up with that daunting Miami area. And yeah, South Florida is just on a whole nother level of talent. Those guys there, they play like their hair's on fire. Those guys there, they know there's one way out of where they're at, and that is through athletics.
Did y'all see the brawl that occurred in Major League Baseball this weekend? Man, that was fun to watch. If that occurred more often, I would watch baseball.
Like hockey. Make it like hockey.
Did y'all see it? Because me and my son were watching it. We were having so much fun. And the White Sox guy was like, well, I don't know why he's so mad, because he threw the first punch and he landed. And the other dude was just like, is that Manny Ramirez's son? Jay Ramirez or J Ram, whatever they call him. He's like wildly swinging. And then they replay it. Kyle, did you see it?
Yeah, they have a ton of guys on the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays have a ton of former Major League Baseball players' sons in both organizations. So that
Wow.
very well could be, we don't have it locked in, but that very well could be his son. But dude, that was a vintage Chuck Liddell Iceman. We're just gonna throw wild, and boom, man, he connected. And the best part was when they were walking Anderson off the field. Holy cow, man! Did he have some wobbly legs? Yeah,
It says that Manny Ramirez has 3 sons, all named Manny. And are y'all familiar why many guys from the Dominican Republic and places like that, Cuba, that play baseball, why they do this?
You mean why they play ball?
No, why they name their sons all the same name?
I don't know.
It's because if they have 3 sons and whoever is the better baseball player becomes the younger one. So now he has a later birth certificate. Because they say some of these guys that played Major League Baseball from these Latin American countries, they're actually older than what their birth certificate says. So that's what they learned. If they name all their sons the same name, then whoever's the better player gets the birth certificate that makes them the youngest. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Y'all haven't heard this. I heard this off of somewhere, ESPN. Like it's very prominent that they all their sons have the same name. Manny Ramirez has 3 sons, all named Manny. And man, those guys, you want to talk about South Florida in football? It's the same way in Latin America for baseball.
This guy is Jose Ramirez, you mean, right?
J-Ram that plays for the Guardians,
that is
a.k.a.
probably
the Cleveland.
Jose Ramirez.
And it's not, is it his son or no?
No, not his son.
Okay.
Ramirez must be in the Hispanic community. Ramirez must be a name like Jones or Smith.
Yes. But man, what did y'all think about that? Me and my son had so much fun watching that. It reminded me of Nolan Ryan and Robin Ventura. That was 30 years ago too. 30 years and one day,
wow.
That Robin Ventura thought it was a good idea to headbutt Nolan Ryan's fist.
That old man jacked him up. 43. What was he? 43, 42 at the time? He snatched him up. But as soon as he got out there, he snatched him up in a headlock and whacked him like 10, 12 times.
But there was like one fight going on. I mean, that pro wrestling, that was what was fun about watching it. I mean, you got a fight breaking out over here. Now you got another fight breaking out over here. And then you got the managers fighting over here. I mean, that's everything you want pro wrestling to be.
I bet that game was highly rated because people hear about it on social media, like I heard about it from you, Coach.
Yeah.
Because you posted it. I said, man, I got to check this out. But it was way after when I saw it on social media. But people see it. They say, hey, I'm turning this game on. Maybe I'll see the replay.
They kept replaying it.
Drives ratings. I just saw Penn Entertainment is a company that sold it back to Portnoy, Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy was forced to buy it back from them as they struck a $2 billion deal with ESPN for sports betting, to have a sports book on ESPN. So they shafted Portnoy. And left him holding the bag.
He doesn't have the voice that ESPN has. He doesn't have the reach.
Right. And they saw what the food budget would be for the cafeteria in the building with Frank Fleming there. And they said, this is a money-losing situation.
So basically,
we can't supply what this man demands. We cannot supply it. So we have to I heard they got him in a holding tank at Barstool building, at the Barstool Tower. They got Frank in a holding tank. They're feeding him fish every 5 minutes. Just throwing it in his mouth like Shamu. Like a baby killer whale.
So like Beyonce, let me upgrade you.
Coach, I love it when you do these life lessons, man, because we pass around from one thing. It's great.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's connected dots. Everything's connected.
Let me upgrade you.
Everything's connected. Everything's connected. Everything's connected in its own way. What are you drinking?
Washington Commanders. This is what you call a $20 soda from the Washington Commanders game. They don't even have people ringing you up anymore. You just put it under a video camera, and it tells you how much you're supposed to pay. Then you got somebody there standing, making sure you're putting everything up on the table, you know.
You know, they've got that in technology in the Circle K's down here in Florida. Have you seen those, Coach Bald?
Yes, sir.
You just
Yeah,
throw your
yeah.
order on this platform, and it's automatically taking a picture of it and calculating what you owe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Washington Commanders. And how about this? Eric Bieniemy, Coach Lambeau, called me, wanted me to get on one of his Lambeau's World of Sports.
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy, who is the offensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, Ron Rivera has said that players have complained to him about Eric Bieniemy's intensity level. Like, I don't understand that. I need to listen to the audio and the video. Like, as a head coach, why would you say that in the media? Are you trying to influence what the offensive coordinator is doing or acting? Like, have you heard about this, Johnny Bottles?
No, I have not. I have not heard about this. But the first things that come to my mind are: is Eric Bieniemy really? Is he really that overbearing? Is he really that tough on the players? And two, are the players that coddled nowadays? Because you know how the younger generation is nowadays. You could say they're soft. You could say they need to have their hands held. About the younger generation of kids they're at. I'm not talking about just football players. I'm talking about all of them. But do you find with the kids that you're coaching now that they're a lot more sensitive to pressure?
Well, I always say
when you were coming up, or Coach Bald when he was coming up.
I always said, I said this yesterday, somebody. Kids are the same. Parents have changed. I'm 45. It's my generation's fault. Parents have changed. Kids are the same.
Are you Generation X? Are you Generation Y? What's your generation? You're a millennial. You're a millennial then.
Well, here's the way I kind of look at generations, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's based on what your parents were. Like, who raised you is you're the next generation. So, like, I don't really go by years. My parents were baby boomers. So, if they were baby boomers, my dad was born in 42 and my mom was born in 49. I was born in 78. So some people say, well, Troy, you're not Gen Xer or this. Well, dude, I was raised by boomers. So their parents were the greatest generation of all time. And they lived through, they were born, before the Great Depression. So they lived during the Great Depression. I guess we lived through the Great COVID. Oh, better not say that word too many times. But
yeah, you get bounced off of YouTube.
Yes, or I'll get fired. So how do you feel about generations, Johnny? I mean, is it what year you're born in, or is it who raised you? Because the people that raised you are the people that set your morals and standards and how you believe about things in this world.
A kid is always determined. The course of a kid's life, the course of a kid's life is determined by the way he was raised or she was raised. It depends on the parents. If it's like baking a cake, man, if you're not going to put a little love and care in baking a cake, and you're just going to slop it together and throw it in the oven and not keep an eye on it, it's going to burn up. It's going to go bad. If that's a poor metaphor, I apologize, but that's the first one that popped into my head. I'm looking at divorce rate percentages. In 1950, the divorce rate was 25%. In the year 2023, the divorce rate is 50%. Half the people that get married
should
get
be
divorced.
higher. It should be higher.
Well, it's higher for second marriages. People who get married twice, the divorce rate's 67%.
I can believe that.
People who get married for a third time, the divorce rate's 75%. People who get married for a third time, like myself, I'm riding that 3.25% wave, that 75% wave, and yeah, I'm people don't realize that.
So you actually got married 3 times. Did you
Why you
walk
seem
the
so
aisle 3
incredulous when you
times?
say that? You're looking at me like I got 3 heads now.
No, I mean,
3
one
times.
crazy
Because if you
woman is
can't get it
enough
right
for
the
a
first
lifetime.
time, Coach Bald, if you can't get it right the first time, you keep on trying. Am I right or am I wrong?
Never give up.
Never
Never
give up.
give up.
You keep on plugging away. Look at
Well,
Elizabeth
you also
Taylor.
know yourself.
You got to
And
know
you know
yourself.
the road map to Divorce City. You know the road to Divorce City. You know what leads to it.
Of course.
So, like, what did you learn?
You learn a lot about yourself and about what your own flaws are, and you learn about how to deal with. Well, if you're married to a woman, you have to learn how to deal with women. Not all women are the same. People say, "Oh, women are all like," well, no, they're not. They're all different, and they're just like men are all different. But it's just you just got to keep on going until you find the right one, pal. It's like a box of chocolates. You keep on going until you find the right flavor. To paraphrase Forrest Gump.
Coach Bald, how long was it before, when you were a kid, you found out that on the box of chocolates that it actually had the type of chocolate on the box's top?
I was this day years old when that happened.
So what do? You just eat whatever, you bite into it and put it back? That's what we used to do.
I mean, yeah, back in the day. Yeah, man. That's exactly how you figure it out. Yeah, like these aren't that good.
I could never eat the
Remember, like
chocolate
during
covered cherries.
right, it
You
was
couldn't eat
always during Christmas time when you would get that little heart deal or Valentine's Day, and you go through like they had a manual, but who reads the freaking manual, right? It's
Yeah,
like, man,
it's a little mark they put on as a dip it in the chocolate or they pour chocolate over it. It's a little curly cue they put on top of it. That supposedly
right?
tells you, it's a secret code that tells you what that chocolate is. But we could never crack that. So when I was growing up, I could never eat the chocolate covered cherries. My brother told me one time, you're eating an eyeball, right? You're eating an eyeball. What? That's a dog's eyeball in there you're eating. I didn't know. I was 7 years old, 6 years old. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And that son of a bitch, he was 9 years older than me, so I was gullible. I believed everything he said. Really?
Tasted like the strawberry. Tasted like the cherry.
Yeah, oh, God. I could never eat those things. But what was your favorite, Coach Taylor?
Anything with nuts.
Anything with nuts in it.
I like peanuts. I like popcorn. My dad liked peanuts and popcorn. I'm a peanuts and popcorn kind of guy. Coach Bald, what do you think? What do you like?
It had to have some peanuts in it or peanut butter. You know, I was a Reese's type of a person, and I always loved around, especially around Easter when you would get those Reese's Easter cups. You
The
know,
eggs.
the fat eggs. Oh man, used to mow those things down. Yeah, those are my favorites. So yeah, when I was digging through, I was like, no peanut butter, no peanut butter, no peanut butter. Put it right on back. Brother will take care of the rest, and mom will take care of the rest.
If you take a dark chocolate Kit Kat, this is when I was, just doing that drunk eating at 1 o'clock in the morning, or you have a few marijuana gummies and you wake up with a warm Miller Lite in your hand, and God, man, I'm a little hungry. A dark chocolate Kit Kat dipped into a jar of peanut butter. It's the cat's ass, gentlemen. I will say that it's the cat's ass. It's fantastic.
Wow. You need to market that.
The dank dank.
That what they
Yeah.
did TV commercials. You got chocolate in my peanut butter. You got peanut butter in my chocolate. Remember that?
Yes.
The Reese's peanut butter cups commercials. Yeah.
Yeah. It made me, y'all talking about Easter made me think about my grandma. I don't know what it was. I mean, she was probably born in 1918. Yeah. What was it about Cadbury eggs? When did Cadbury eggs come out? And like, I still today love Cadbury eggs. I mean,
They're
what is it? It's
fantastic.
milk chocolate, and it's basically some type of sugar cream with a yellow coloring that looks like a yolk. Some people hate Cadbury eggs, and those people, I don't understand you.
They take condensed milk, which is sweet, and they whip it up until it becomes like a meringue, and they put it in there. And then they got a needle. I saw how they were made. They got a needle that goes into the egg, and it squirts in a little bit of yellow food coloring in the center of it, and that makes the yolk.
Wow.
Let me see how long they've been around. The old
Wow.
Cadbury's. 1824
Wow.
in Birmingham,
It was the
England.
guy's name Cadbury, or did he steal the idea?
That's
from
his
someone?
actual name, brother. I'm going to pull it up for you right now. If you
Okay, yeah, show it to us on there.
Yeah.
Matt Davis, you're the best. Matty Ice, we're talking about Cadbury eggs. All right, you people that don't like Cadbury eggs out there in the world, I don't understand you. Let me see if I can put it. There you go. You know how to do this better than me.
Bull Street, where it all began. 1824, John Cadbury opened a grocery shop in Bull Street, Birmingham. Amongst his groceries, he sold cocoa and drinking chocolate, which he prepared himself using a mortar and pestle, much like a pharmacist. And it became very popular. He sort of mixed the two together, and he started making chocolates that way. Him and his sons, George and Richard Cadbury. Soon after, in 1847, he moved to a bigger factory because I guess they were in such demand. And in 1861, Richard and George took over when John retired from the business, and George was in charge of production. Richard was in charge of sales. Business was tough. And George said, if this business ever makes a profit of £1,000 a year, I retire a happy man. And the turning point came when they invested in a brand new way to process the cocoa, which was made with a lot of cocoa butter. So once they perfected their process, and to make a long story short, they got it down, and they were the most popular chocolate company over in Europe. There's all the workers going in, all the women going to the factory to work.
Now, the reason that they wore, the reason that a woman's bike is different than a man's bike is because of the dress, right?
Right, so they could get their leg over the bike without exposing their skirt, their underwear.
Is there still discrimination when making bikes? Can you look at a bike today and know whether that is a man's bike or a woman's bike?
I don't think you can nowadays. Can you?
I used to love MTV, and I used to love Saturday Night Live. I loved It's Pat skit. What was the name of that woman that played Pat?
Julia
Michaels? Julia.
Michael, no, not Julia Michaels.
Yeah, I love that. So you can't tell the difference.
Julia Sweeney.
Yeah, she was wonderful. You can't tell the difference between a man's bike and a woman's bike today. Man, she was ahead of her time. She was ahead of her time. That was a great skit, man.
There's Pat.
It's Pat. Toots is the driving cat. You remember that one? Coach Bald?
Nah.
You don't remember the driving cat?
No. That's Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. Remember the cat, and it had like the little fake hands, and it was sitting there, and it would always like drive them off a cliff. Yeah, it's the one. It's the one right. It's the one with the where the strip is, and it's got the white box. That's the custom. That's the one I was using. I don't know. So, Coach Ball, what's the plans for today? Are you working at St. Pete Rejuvenate? What's the deal?
Yeah, we got a lot going on over there this week. And actually, the last raffle we had, they actually did not, we got to set a time on these raffles for you to come and collect. So they did not collect. So we're going to have to pull the trigger again and announce a new winner. So that's kind of what's going on there. And yeah, got a ton of stuff I got to run through and go pick up from the store. We've been having some work done at the house and everything. So just got to knock that out and, get squared away, get a workout in, get some reading in, get some things done, print out some new stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Look forward to the weekend. The weekend we're celebrating my granddaughter's 4th birthday. Yesterday was the day, but yeah, man. So that's what I got going on.
Nice.
What's going on in the world? Streaming the game tonight.
What's that?
Can we live stream the football game on here?
I mean, I don't. If someone wants to do it, I don't care. They can do it.
Yeah, you
But
couldn't
I mean, I
have
give you a
the,
huddle to watch it, but it's just a scrimmage. It's just a practice, Johnny,
Yes,
the
sir.
SCM podcast on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
What is going on in wrestling? What will y'all be talking about on that?
We're going to be talking about Vince McMahon having spinal surgery, debilitating spinal surgery, where he's laid up. He's in a wheelchair right now. Vince McMahon is. And the day before spinal surgery, the FBI came in and raided his home,
Good.
looking for documents pertaining to the cover-up of all the relationships he's had over the years, the paid relationships with female employees, be they wrestlers, paralegals, secretaries. He's been through them all. And they want to find out how the money was produced, how the $17.4 million that he's paid out to women over the last 15 years was distributed and where it came from.
Is it the same Vince McMahon? I mean, is that same guy, or did the real Vince McMahon die and he's been cloned? Because that face of his, I mean, he's looking more and more like Carrot Top every day. What's going on with his face?
He looks like the embalmed corpse of Gomez Adams now. That's what he looks like.
Wow. Well,
put him side by side. Just put him side by side.
Morticia.
That's French.
Which one was it? Which one was it that was actually in the Ten Commandments?
Which one?
Was that the Munsters lady or the Addams family?
That's a good question.
Because I saw a picture of her in lingerie, and somebody tried to show me this and say, this right here is, I think it's Munsters.
Yvonne DiCarlo was her name. She's a big actress of the 40s and 50s.
They tried to show me a picture of her in a lingerie, and it was the body of a Victoria's Secret model. I said, women were not built like that then. I mean, it's not natural. So it was
they were built like that. They just covered it up.
Well, see if you can find that picture of Juan DeFranco in lingerie.
I don't think you're going to see a Juan DeFranco in lingerie.
I'm not kidding you. There's a picture that my friend was going to buy. And he said, if I knew she looked like that, I'd watch that show with my mom my entire life growing up. They had a check underneath of her in a plaque a check that she had signed. And then they had this picture of her. Let me see. It was the Munsters.
Who y'all talking about? Elvira?
Yeah. Well,
talking about Lily Munster from the Munsters
Lily
TV
Munster.
show.
Lily Munster in lingerie. All right, let me see if I can find this.
I think I got it right here. Hang on.
All right. It looks like it's been photoshopped, but my friend said that he would have bought that if he would have known. Let me see. Google image search is there it is right there. That's top, that one right there, the second one. That first one or the second one in the top. The black and white. No,
this
not
one?
that one. Not that one. No, the black and white one.
Right there.
It's we still see the Amazon. No.
What the hell?
Go back to the image search where all the different images are.
I'm on that right now. Hang on.
Oh yeah, it's not on our screen.
Yeah, I see that. Hang on.
Coach Bald, you're our resident expert on cover models and pinup.
Is this
Here we go.
Right here?
Yes. Now, if you could zoom in on that and look at the
photoshopped.
The one on the left, my friend said if he would have known that that's what she looked like, he would have watched that show with his mom growing up every day. I tried to tell him, I said, dude, that's fake.
It is fake.
That is now, were women built? I mean, that is not natural to be that skinny and to be that, voluptuous.
Voluptuous.
Yeah. So what do you think about that, Johnny Bottles? Are you offended as a pop culture expert in that picture right there? People were selling that picture as actually being her.
Since Photoshop was invented, people have been putting celebrities' faces and heads on the bodies of naked models, naked women, lingerie models, and passing it off as the actual thing. They would get people to click on their websites. There were websites that were proliferating the internet, man. They were all over the place in the early 2000s of celebrity photos, naked celebrity photos, and they were just Photoshop things. Jennifer Love Hewitt was a big one back then. You used to see her naked everywhere, but it wasn't her. She's never posed nude for a photo shoot. Now in movies, I think she's done a few nude scenes,
But that is not actually her.
that's not actually
Good
her.
hustle. Good hustle.
Yeah.
Good hustle if you can get it.
So
Yeah.
could we Photoshop my face on Coach Bald's body?
Of
There
course.
we go. There we go. Heck yeah.
Of course.
So
You
there,
can Photoshop my
Can we
face
do
on,
his good hair on my bald head?
probably
There
so.
you go.
Wow.
I think we could.
Wow.
Man, what a life lesson today. Humor over hatred. Man, hatred. That's a very strong word.
You mentioned Richard Pryor earlier. Richard Pryor or Dave Chappelle? For you, who's better, Richard Pryor or Dave Chappelle?
I mean, I love Dave Chappelle. But I go with the original because without Richard Pryor, there would be no Dave Chappelle.
Oh, nailed it.
You're right.
I mean,
And Red Fox came up at the same time.
Oh man,
go.
what a legend!
Go.
He was great, man.
I used to have his 8 track. My dad used to have his 8 tracks. Him and Buddy
Coming
Hackett.
to you. I'm coming to you, Elizabeth.
And I
Right?
even think Dave Chappelle. I think even Dave Chappelle would say that Richard Pryor is the GOAT. You know, I don't think he would take that honor. You know, because I mean, it was harder back then. You know, you didn't have all these different mediums. Dave Chappelle was put on by Mel Brooks. I mean, he was in Men in Tights. I don't know. You said that the guy put on Richard Pryor that was it was the guy with the variety show that
Flip Wilson.
Flip Wilson. So I mean,
Yeah.
everybody needs a help. That needs mentor.
Mhm.
But Richard Pryor, I mean, he was so far ahead of his time.
Back
What do you
then-
say?
Back then, in those days, you used to see comedians all the time, and they were everywhere. All variety shows, movies, regular TV shows, talk shows. But now, with the advent of what's that say? Oh, let's see.
The name of the team is Verina. That's a play on words.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they're a great
Jeffrey
program.
Matthews, thank you for that laugh.
Yes. Thank you for that life lesson, Jeff
Yes.
Matthews.
But back then, in those days, you'd see a lot of comedians everywhere. Nowadays, you don't see them because there's no more variety shows. You couldn't swing a dead cat over your head without hitting a variety show back in those days, in the late 60s, early 70s. It was a form of regular TV entertainment that people, big ratings for that. Tony Orlando and Dawn, the Andy Williams Show, Glenn Campbell, Good Time Hour, the Smothers Brothers variety show, which
But-
launched 1,000 careers of people.
But
And,
is not YouTube a variety show?
YouTube is a variety show. Well,
'cause
YouTube
aren't they-
is a potpourri of whatever you want it to be. You
Yeah,
can even
but I
see
mean-
pornography on YouTube.
I mean, it's like it was basically shorts. I mean, there were short skits and different people,
Yep.
and they were offering that in a whatever with commercials. I forgot what a 30-minute show was. 23 minutes.
Well, on those variety shows, you would have, let's say, like the Sonny and Cher show, which was a
Yes.
big one at the time. It was huge, and you would see on Sonny and Cher, you would see Dean Martin from the Rat Pack. You would see Paul Revere and the Raiders, which is a big musical guest at the time. You might see Richard Pryor on Sonny and Cher. This is all in the same show. Dean Martin, Richard Pryor, Paul Revere and the Raiders, and then they would have like a bunch of comedy skits they would do, and a whole bunch of musical numbers that they would do. You would hear like the greatest hits of Sonny and Cher, essentially, or they would sing other people's songs. They would cover other people's songs. Carol Burnett the same way. The Dean Martin Show the same way. A lot of drinking on the Dean Martin Show. He was plastered the majority of the time.
What? So you're telling me that Dean Martin drank? Because I heard he did not drink. That was actually an act. He was actually not drinking. That was actually iced tea.
That was damage control. That publicity would say. The publicist would say, "Oh no, he did. No, he's not drinking. It's iced tea."
So Dean Martin actually did drink
juice.
on air.
Yes. In fact, he was bombed when he came with it to the Tonight Show. Look for the clips of it on YouTube. He wore a white leisure suit and came out on the Tonight Show. It was Bob Hope being interviewed by Johnny Carson, and Dean Martin just came out because he was filming across the hallway at the NBC studios. And he sauntered in with a cigarette and a highball in his hand. And he didn't really know where he was. But they interviewed him for 15 minutes, and it was comedy gold.
Shout out to Beard Laws.
All right.
I'm the guy that messes everything up, whether it be Jason Terry or whether it be a cover model. Okay. But
Who's
Beard
Beard
Laws was on with Jason Terry. I have the utmost respect for Beard Laws and what he does. The podcast, he's a baseball guy, Johnny Bottles, and we got to check out Beard Laws.
Who's Jason Terry?
Jason Terry is a podcast host. He was the guy that I stalked and basically upset him and the Cheek family.
You mean Josh Terry?
Yes.
You don't want to say his name. You don't want to say his name. Okay, that guy.
Yeah.
We'll just
right,
say that guy.
I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. All right,
I got to play a lot of damage
remember my
control.
own name.
You see that, right, Johnny?
Yeah. I'm the guy that messes everything up. I mean,
That's right, Tony. Get it right, Tony.
Yeah. Beard Laws. Beard Laws is the best. Everybody go watch Beard Laws. He's up in Maine.
Does he have a product for beards as well? Or recommend one? I bet he does.
Yes. He's up in New York near Canada. Y'all are down in Florida and I'm in Richmond. Man, I'm stupid. Why am I here and y'all are in Florida? Y'all are smart. Look at you guys.
Take the plunge.
Hey, man. You know, I'm a Route 10 coach. He says I do. Okay, so Beard Laws, my friend, put your link. Where can everybody get it? You know, these guys right here, they have goatees. Florida looks so much nicer than up here. Yes, it is. That's St. Petersburg, and you're in the Orlando area, right, Johnny?
No, I'm in Central Florida.
Central
Florida. About an hour and a half away from Orlando.
Yeah. Look at that, Beard Laws. Where all the good football players are from.
Go. Get the birds. Go get them. Go.
That's Coach Bald. And Coach Bald, Beard Laws, is he's who hooked us up with the Josh Terry podcast because he's good friends with Sarah Blake Cheek. Johnny Bottles has got the SCM podcast, the Squared Circle Maniacs, the Stone Cold Mafia. They like old school wrestling. Yeah.
I love old school.
Wowza. He loves that view. He loves it. So Coach Ball, Johnny Bottles, have y'all got anything else y'all want to say today? What are y'all thinking?
Go ahead, Johnny.
I'm thinking that I have to go and check out the Jason Terry podcast.
Yes.
And do a rerun of your appearance on there. Your memorable appearance.
Yes. That's what Kyle says. He goes, yes. Don't you, Kyle? Where did you learn that from?
Yes. I believe I learned that from Big T. His brother, we were at a restaurant one time, and they were, rolling down the menu, and they were like, so would you like this or would you like this? And he was like, yes. It was the perfect answer. He got both of them. It was a trick question. Which one would you like, sir? Would you like this one or this one? And he was like, yes.
Yes.
It's a great answer sometimes,
Yes.
What's coming up on Totem Pole Nation?
Well, Coach Lambeau, he's probably gonna make about 10 videos today. Okay. All right, then Mr. Big, he's got a podcast, another podcast coming out.
Of course he does.
We're gonna do
we're doing 10 a week.
We're gonna do the first seance. We're gonna do if we're gonna do a seance, who do y'all want to seance?
Let me see if I can't contact Madness. I think he'd be a good
Macho Man?
I think the Madness, the Bone Saw, he would be a great candidate. He's been a little depressed here lately. He's got to have a major surgery coming up. So yeah.
Can we actually get Mr. Big to do a seance of Randy Poffo?
Ooh,
and Randy Poffo can inhabit the body of the Madness. Is that possible, Johnny Bottles?
I think it's already happened.
We're gonna pick out of all the people in the world. Y'all are telling me that we want a seance on YouTube. The Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Holes made tonight against Varina. Watch that, Johnny.
Yeah, watch that.
Against Varina. That's only one letter away from getting thrown off of YouTube.
Yes. Yes. So, Johnny Bottles, is that who we're going with? Out of all the people that have ever walked on this earth to seance, it's going to be Randy Poffo.
For the Madness? Yes, for the Madness.
And Mr. Biggs, do you think that he would be willing to do this?
I think Mr. Big would be willing to do anything within the letter of the law. So.
Well said.
Coach Bald, when can we arrange this? When can you get Madness on here within the next hour? We're gonna break the internet.
The next hour?
But I can't participate in a seance, dude.
Let me check my liquor cabinet. Let me check the liquor cabinet. See exactly. We got enough product to get him, excited about it.
I got a better candidate, Coach, for a seance for Madness. We'll have Mr. Big sit there and try to contact Madness's liver, bring it back from the dead.
Ooh.
Do you have to have someone to inhabit the spirit or the ghost?
The ghost of Don Rickles. The ghost of Don Rickles will inhabit Madness's liver and talk to Madness and say, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Look at you with your dollar store wig. Look at you."
We got to get this. Is going to be wild.
It would be amazing.
Is there a seance on YouTube?
You got hang on a second, dude. You got to do this. You let you rub the lamp and the genie came out. You got to do this.
But is there another one? Because I have a guy eating glass. That was the only video on YouTube of a guy eating glass.
Yeah.
And is he? I take it he's no longer with us.
He is not. He is not. He was a ranger. He ate light bulbs. He'd chew on many of a glass. He'd break his teeth and he'd cut his face, when he bit into it. But is there another seance on YouTube?
You can do a seance of a man who bit the heads off of chickens. How's that? If you're going to have a guy eating glass, you got to have a guy.
Well, Jimmy did. Jimmy had a pet turkey when he was in the Rangers. They all had a pet turkey. And then when they graduated from Ranger school, they all had to bite the head off the chicken and then drink the blood.
Wow.
So is there another seance on YouTube? Or are we going to do the first one ever?
You could have Mr. Big do a seance to bring back Frank Sinatra.
Oh, wow.
Whose body is he going to inhabit?
Yours.
Oh, no, I can't mess with that, dude. I can't mess with no seances and people's souls and stuff entering my body. I can't roll with that, man.
Have Frank inhabit the body of Madness. Madness isn't using it right now, so he could just slide on in.
I have the perfect person.
Who?
Lambo.
Frank Sinatra.
Lambo's ready and willing, dude. Lambo is ready and willing.
Are melting away.
We should just invite Beard Laws. Frank can take mine over. That would be great for content.
Wow. Way to step up.
Thank you. And you can stream this live to your channel. All right.
Yeah,
So I will
live
hit
on
you up
live.
on Instagram. We're going to do the Frank Sinatra seance. Beard Laws. He's going to inhabit your body. So I'm going to hit you up. You have my cell number. So just text me 804 839 5244. That's right. I'm not scared.
You're putting it out there.
804.
The two people watching this are writing that down right now.
Two people. Yes, they are. 804 839 5244. Hit me up. We're setting the seance up. I'm going to be calling Mr. Big as soon as we get off here. And
Yeah,
we're
he was up
going to
late
do
last
it,
night.
dude.
He
If
hasn't
you do-
checked in.
If you do this, invite me. I got to see this. I got to be a part of this. I got.
So you're going to be on the show.
If he's doing a seance, I'm definitely
I'm
going to
not
be.
going to be on the show. All right, dude. I can't rock with that because the one thing I still have is my soul. All right, so I'm not gonna be a part of this, but I guess I really am since this is Totem Pole. I already got it. Okay, so Jeff Matthews, we're gonna do it. I'm gonna call Mr. Big as soon as we get off here, and we're setting this Frank Sinatra seance up. He said he can do seances, so this is gonna make history.
Bringing it back.
The news. There we go.
And today, he hated singing this, right?
I didn't hear that.
That's what
made him a lot of money.
Somebody told me that he hated singing this song. I guess because he got sick of it.
He probably got sick of it after a while.
Goat.
Hey,
Back to
I'm
goat.
gone. I love y'all. I'm calling Mr. Big. I'm sorry, not Mr. Bald, Mr. Big, and we're gonna get this thing on. We are gonna do the seance of Frank Sinatra in Beard Laws' body.
It's the greatest thing ever.
He says, "You do get sick of New York pretty easily." Yes. You want to be? He's from New York, man. Y'all the best.
You can get beaten up very easily in New York nowadays.
The Brooklyn Brawler.
There you go, buddy. Steve Lombardi. And he's out. And Coach Bald is out. There he is.
All right, my brother.
All right, guys.
You want to sign us off, Johnny?
Folks, Cultivate Wellness for all your CBD needs. They ship anywhere in the continental United States. They have coupons available for free shipping if you buy a certain amount. Check them out on their website, cultivatewellness.com. If you've got aches and pains, if you get up and go, got up and went, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling sore, you're stressed out, you need to lose weight, stop in if you're in the Florida area, at the southern tip of Florida. Stop into St. Pete's Rejuvenate down in St. Petersburg. They'll take good care of you down there. It's a full-service spa, and it will change your life. Sideline Design, making us look great here on Totem Bowl Sports. They're taking care of all our needs for graphics, things of that nature. Graphics for T-shirts, graphics for hats, hoodies, you name it. They handle it all. They make us look fantastic. Sideline Design. Beard Laws, you do get sick of New York pretty easily. That's true. And for us Floridians here in the Sunshine State, we'll catch you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Oh, and check us out, Totem Pole Nation. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video. If you see what you like on Totem Pole Nation, just give us a thumbs up on whatever video you happen to be watching and that you like. It helps the YouTube algorithm keep us going, keep us prominent in all your searches, things of that nature. Yada, 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 yada. See you tomorrow, folks.